Hey, what's going on, guys? Komeki here. Finally, it seems like I've found the major direction of how to develop this channel. So if you're interested, without further ado, let's actually start. Most of you probably know me for numerous web scraping tutorials, and I believe that most of you has subscribed to this channel because of those numerous web scraping tutorials. And many of you might be wondering, why the heck did I start making some various stuff in order to avoid saying crap, right? So what's the reason for trying so many different topics without much success? The reason is very simple. So let me just try to explain the reason behind why this channel actually appeared on YouTube here. So the reason is very simple. I just started my freelancing career, and I really didn't want to make clients on Upwork or similar resources like freelancing platforms. Instead, I wanted to work with the clients directly, and hence this channel. So I created this channel to practice my coding skills and to come up with new clients from YouTube, and this worked perfectly well in the last year. So my web scraping tutorials were good enough to find good clients to work with. I've been talking about this numerous number of times, so I don't really want to go for duplications here. But the problem is that after extensive experience in freelancing, and after being I would say full-time web scraping developer, I got so sick and tired from this that I just can't express myself enough to show you how much I was sick and how tired I was, how exhausted I was from that sort of a thing. So eventually I dropped that completely, and there were some videos. So those of you who follow this channel for quite a bit of time probably know about that. And since then, I started looking for something new. And the most important thing to bear in mind is that after dropping freelancing completely, well, I'm still doing some paid consultations, but I don't consider that to be freelancing really. So currently, YouTube has become my main and actually, unfortunately, the only source of income. But this is intentional. So I just left all the projects I've been working on. So I say goodbye to my clients because I really wanted to focus on YouTube completely, even though it significantly suffers from the income perspective. So I almost don't have anything at the moment as opposed to what I had when I was doing this highly paid freelancing jobs. But for me personally, money was never the main thing in the life. So for me personally, expressing your internal world and trying to figure out who you are, where you're going to, things like that was the very main thing in the entire life. And I always believed, and I still believe, that the most important thing is just to discover your own nature and to go your own way, to discover that own way to follow, and that's pretty it. So the problem is that when you're doing YouTube, for making clients, and when you're doing YouTube for YouTube, that's two completely different things. So I've realized that the way I was doing videos on this channel was only serving the purpose of getting new clients. That worked perfectly well, but from the YouTube perspective, from the views, so from the subscribers perspective, it didn't work. And currently, in order to be a full-time YouTuber, which I'm on the way to, let's say, I really need to change everything completely, because otherwise it's just not going to be eligible. So I hope that's clear. And I have an experience on another channel. I've been talking about that many times. So in parallel, I'm running chess programming channel, which now has 710 subscribers, if I'm not mistaken. I have really lots of videos. That's a very dedicated channel. So it's dedicated to chess programs, a very narrow scope. And it's really interesting. The surprising fact is that this 2,460 subscribers on CodeMonkeyKing's channel give a really miserable number of views, as opposed to chess programming, where I only have around 700 subscribers. But on that channel, the views are much bigger. So let me just quickly demonstrate you that. Oh, it's already 715. Yeah. Okay. So here, the views are totally, and see the activity is also much bigger. So guys are writing chess engines, following the videos, commenting, so YouTube is growing. So it's like even chess engine for rare ZX Spectrum computer, so it has 70 views, and for say for more popular videos, the views are really bigger. You see, like, so here I have the series, so the first video in the series get really lots of views. So so this channel has less subscribers, but it has more views and it has more watch time hours. So this gives me an idea that this channel it's not about making clients, it's about YouTube, and it's growing naturally, and I really love how the process is going. And one of the main things is that actually so many people already has followed my 95 video series on how to code your own Bitboard chess engine in C. It's one of my biggest series is here. So here's just like 95 videos. Okay, and there are really lots of commentaries along the series. So all the videos, so really lots of commentaries down below. Okay, where are the commentaries? Okay, yeah. So every video covering some specific topic and people asking questions, and that's really great. So I've realized that this sort of a format is a true YouTube format, and if I want to do YouTube, I need to do in this sort of a thing. I need to do this sort of a thing, okay? And doing business sensitive topic videos, well, first of all, it's really boring for me now in particular, and secondly, it's just like
having a really solid auto-completion
sorry.
for your text
Oh man,
is going to
shut up, please.
be a game changer.
Come on.
And Tab 9 is a really good choice.
Oh
here.
man. Sorry guys.
Tab 9 is an AI-powered code.
Oh, how I hate this. Okay, I'm sorry. So, yeah, let's just go to your channel. Okay, so yeah, and so I've realized that in order to have more kind of, it's not even about the matter of views, but to make, for YouTube, it's important to have the videos that people actually watch as a content. I mean, like in web scraping, it was the matter of you just picking up some topic and then go into GitHub, grabbing the code, and you're happy with that. So I really doubt that many people were actually watching those tutorials, because they were quite pretty boring. And yeah, again, like, so if you just can grab the code, you can learn from code much faster. So it's not really that much. So, well, anyway, let's get to the point. So what is the hard decision that so what the hard decision is all about? So this video is entitled like the hard decision. So what the hard decision is all about, and the hard decision is to pick up a new, completely new topic from scratch, absolutely from scratch, and go in that dedicated way like I did on chess programming, and to turn this CodeMonkeyKing channel into a real YouTube channel dedicated to a specific topic, but that more suits YouTube and like subscribers, likes, and views, rather than this business sensitive topics that has in mind this idea of getting new clients. So it was incredibly hard for me, but I decided to kickstart with so-called raycasting. So raycasting is an algorithm allowing us to convert two-dimensional space into the three-dimensional illusion. I think that's the best a definition of what the raycasting algorithm is. So games like Wolfenstein 3D, like Doom, the classics of the 90s, they all are literally two-dimensional games, but because of this 3D projection, we can have the feeling as if we are exploring the three-dimensional world, like walking in the mazes, shooting enemies, things like that. And I already made 3 videos. Like it might be treated as pilot videos, let's say a pilot series, right? It wasn't really successful in terms of I'm not satisfied with the end result completely. And when I was doing this, I've encountered numerous issues, mostly the math issues, because as I've been mentioning many times, so I'm complete dumb in math. So math is something that I really don't like, and it's really hard for me to deal with that. However, when I started diving into these algorithms, I've realized that the math is not that horrible how I was thinking about it. And when you have, like, the problem is like when you've been like at school back in the day, the most horrible period of my life, to be honest. So I had all of this sines, cosines, tangents, all this geometry, algebra, all this stuff, and I was like, oh my god, why is this happening? So why do we need this? I had no understanding so how to apply those kind of knowledge. I didn't see any sense in that. But in this sort of a raycasting algorithm, I found that it's really applicable, and it's not even the matter how to manually calculate all of that stuff that I was tortured at school to do, but it's the matter of understanding some of the core principles, and in case we have a visual representation of these principles in a format of a game, it's really inspiring, and it inspires you to dive deeper into this math and try to figure out how exactly it works. And also, again, like initially I was really upset that, let's say, this raycasting algorithm, if it's implemented in the most simplest way possible, it becomes as slow as hell. And currently I'm learning so-called Bresenham's line algorithm, which allows to perform this raycasting. If applied to raycasting, it allows to do this way faster, as opposed to pixel by pixel multiplication by depth. Like if depth is represented by pixels, so if you just multiply by depth by 1 pixel, it really gets slow, and the frame per seconds are dropping from, let's say, 60 frames per second to 15 to 10 frames per second with only 120 rays, not even 300s. So it's really unfortunate thing, to say it least, right? But this algorithm allows to do the same thing much better, and I've realized that, and another absolutely brilliant thing, that copy pasting doesn't work here. So if you don't have an understanding of how things work, then copy pasting is not working. It does work in web scraping. You can not have any idea of how that works, but you can just grab the code chunks and just paste them in, and most likely they would be working, because like it's all about the same. But here, this entire raycasting is about thinking like you need to visualize this in your head, and well, it's hard to visualize sometimes. So it really helps to create this two-dimensional kind of cheat maps to have a visual representation of what in particular is going on under the hood. And yeah, that's really helpful. So like the hardest thing to consider was to take a decision to go into this. Well, I'm starting with raycasting, but potentially I would go for further on, like some game development, maybe some real 3D one day. I really doubt about this, but anyway. But at very least, I can say that for raycasting, there is so many opportunities, so many options, so many possibilities that we can come up with, that it's really intriguing. And I think that with raycasting, I can do something similar to what I've done on Chess Programming Channel already. So, and I don't know, for some reason nowadays this technique from the early 90s comes very popular, and I've been inspecting the modern implementations of raycasting engines, and they are very impressive to say the least. Okay, so just to give you an idea, so let's see, here we have a completely pure JavaScript based raycasting engine. So here the canvas is used to render the graphics. Well, it's a little bit laggy because of my video recording software, and yes, JavaScript is not that great as C or C++ or even Python. But anyway, we can walk through the three-dimensional world, and I believe this is really awesome. And bear in mind the fact that it's around 256 lines of code, if I'm not mistaken, but it could have been simplified even more. So in this case, it really makes this idea fantastic for implementation. So I'm researching the source code for this app. By the way, it's written several years ago, so it's not a new one, and it's not the most impressive one. So if you Google for raycasting, and if you search for raycasting on YouTube, then you might come up with absolutely fascinating videos. So what guys has already done with this technology is really amazing. And I think that, so when I was trying to like just grab the code, try to like not dive in too much into that, it didn't really work. So I realized that instead of looking for the quick end result, I should dive into the learning, I should study, and in that case, it should be rewarding because I would be able to come up with a really long and very didactic video series like I have on my chess programming channel. And just if I just recall my experience with chess programming, that was the same. So I spent around 3 years to come up with my very first bug-free emoji generator. So that was a bit of a challenge, to say the least. And diving into this raycasting algorithm, I've realized that I think that it's easier than chess programming, but the how it looks, the end result looks even more impressive than the chess programming. So I think this might be a perfect choice for YouTube. And the problem is, as always, so what I'm doing on YouTube is didactic approach all of the time. So that's kind of the very gist of what am I doing. So there are really lots of cool kind of like engines, raycasting engines out there. And as it always happens, that people doing code much better than I do. But the problem is that even those, there are lots of tutorials explaining how in particular to do this stuff. But for me personally, as a complete dumb in math and a guy who's completely new to this stuff, I was trying to follow the tutorials. I've been mentioning that before, but I couldn't really, I couldn't follow those tutorials because I had so many questions arising, and that wasn't the case. That wasn't really the way to go. And even when I did this little small series, I realized that I get a much better understanding of the algorithm, like the core of the algorithm, or this algorithm, let's say. And when it comes to complications like adding textures, adding like shading for textured walls and things like that, like texturing ceiling and floor if needed, and so on. So like adding sprites, like animations to be able to shoot the enemies, like things like that. So it's all explained, but it's really not clear. So I decided to master all of these things on my own and then share the experience that I'll come up with after, and hopefully to create and eventually I'm going to create kind of like a tutorial series that would be really easy to follow, like those I've been doing on chess programming, right? So like so people were so the engine there, the chess engine there is not the strongest in the world. It's not the best written ever. It's not that impressive from the code perspective probably, but that's impressive from the didactic perspective and from the perspective of being able to follow the tutorial series. So that's something I'm putting emphasis on, okay? And I'm gonna do the same thing here with raycasting. And this is just an entry point, so I have no idea where exactly it can come. But in general, raycasting, like maybe later on, maybe I will go to full-blown 3D graphics, maybe to just another game development related things. But anyway, that's the new direction. So starting from raycasting, so I'm not at how many videos it takes. I believe more than 100 videos, and then we'll see basically. Well, at this moment in particular, I really don't want to go beyond raycasting because it seems to be like an infinite topic on its own, really. And another thing, so instead of doing just tutorials on the algorithm, which I don't really have that perfect understanding of, at least for now, I would rather be focusing on creating an end product. So what I'm currently working on is I'm trying to create my own version of the classic shooter, the very first three-dimensional shooter called Wolfenstein 3D from 1992. It's incredibly difficult at the moment because I really need to pick up all of those basics. But if I come up with a decent result, and I really hope I will, then I'll make a video demonstrating this end result, and then we'll start a very long series breaking down the process of creating that game, of creating that game, like step by step, and then we'll see how it happens. Then we'll see how it goes. Then potentially, like, I have an idea to port that sort of a thing into web interface, because it's really exciting to have the 3D game in the web browser directly. Maybe then we'll try to go for more sophisticated things like Doom-like visual effects already with the shading textures, like the lighting, like if you just fire with a rocket, it just fires the walls and things like that. So I don't know how to do this in this particular moment, but those just the ideas that are resonating in my head. So that's kind of the direction I'm about to consider. I've already considered actually for this channel in general. Because again, like, to make content to as like after turning into a full-time YouTuber, I really need to think about the content, and it should be absolutely different formats. So I really hope that the era of trying to find myself with this never-ending attempts, like to everywhere basically, I hope it's finally finished, and I hope that from now on I would be able to cover this kind of topic, and hopefully it would be interesting. Okay guys, so this is it from my side. I don't think that you're excited about this, because that's not what you've subscribed for. But I just tried to explain the reasons of what the heck is going on here on this channel. So I'm sick and tired of business related stuff. I don't really want to do this, and I really want to go for full-time YouTube, which I already did. And in that case, I just need a completely different format of a content, and I need a dedicated content, and that sort of a content is gonna be raycasting for the nearest months, let's say. So that's pretty from my side. Thanks for watching, and I really hope to see you following those tutorials. At very least, like, just maybe not dive in that deep, but at least just following how the things are going. And I think that's gonna be exciting. Well, okay, this is it from my side. So yeah, thanks for watching. Until the next time, and take care.